Hi, hello. This video is a comprehensive travel guide for Munnar, Kerala, which I have made for myself after staying in Munnar for 7 days, talking to locals and doing 4 days of extensive research so that I can plan a perfect trip. In this video, I'm going to show you the best of the spots that you could visit out of the 40 plus spots that exist in Munnar, and also give you details about the budget of this trip, bike rentals, taxi rates, properties, food, restaurants, and things you should definitely avoid. So Munnar sits at 1600 meters above sea level in the Western Ghats of Kerala near Tamil Nadu border. The name Munnar originates as it is the confluence of three rivers, which translates from Munu and Aru, words of Malayalam and Tamil meaning three rivers. So what would be the best time to visit Munnar? Ideally post monsoons and in the winters. You will witness lush greenery, gushing waterfalls and cool weather during this time. April to June will be much warmer and drier, but still pleasant to escape the heat and enjoy a summer holiday with occasional showers. Munnar will witness a lot of rainfall and it is less visited in monsoons, although very beautiful, but roads may be a little risky and few activities may be closed for tourism due to the monsoons. Now your typical Munnar plan will be of 3 days, but I will recommend you to stay one more day and do some experiences like camping and trekking, the details of which I'll share in the next section. Ideally, it is a great spot for families for its traditional tourism infrastructure, but Munnar definitely offers a lot for the new age travelers who want a more experiential feel. It can be a great budget backpacking destination because of the availability of hostels, bike rentals and campsites. It is a safe destination for solo female travelers as well due to good connectivity, organized government tourism, a good community of tourists and respectful locals. But here's a quick note for everyone. Almost all things start shutting down by 6 p.m. in and around Munnar. So make sure you're on your way back by the time the sun is setting to your properties. Now Munnar does not have easy direct access to reach from across India. So here's how you reach conveniently. The nearest airport is Kochi, which is about 110 kilometers away. The towns of Alua and Kochi are nearby major railway stations, which are again 110 kilometers. You can get direct buses from major cities like Bangalore, Chennai and Thiruvananthapuram. You can get government KSRTC buses and a few private buses from Kochi and Alua, usually from morning till midday for transfers from these two cities to Munnar. Driving to Munnar can be a great road trip as the roads offer some spectacular sights, but avoid driving at nights due to the hilly and forest conditions. So the places that you could visit in Munnar.
Munnar town sits at the junction of 4 roads, and all the spots that are usually visited lie all around the town in about 50-kilometer radius. Usually everyone covers these spots as one-day trips in each of these directions. So I have divided the list into 4 groups for your easy reference. I'll give you details of the top few spots from each of these routes and list down the other spots that come on the route to keep this video short and to the point, but not miss out on any of the 40 spots that you could visit. Let's start with route 1, which goes towards southeast in the Madurai direction. So the first spot is the Kolukumalai Peak. Undoubtedly, the highlight of this trip would be this jeep ride to the sunrise viewpoint from the Kolukumalai hills. An off-road jeep can take you at 5 in the morning to one of the highest tea plantations of the world with a forest permit, and you can witness one of the best views of Munnar from the top of the peak while the sun rises above the cloud bed. The jeep will cost you about 2500 per ride from Suryanelli Jeep Point, and an additional 500 goes to the forest department. Number 2 is the Government Botanical Garden, which is best visited post sunset when the lights are turned on in the park. It's a pretty cool park with nice walkways, structures and displays of plants for a perfect evening stroll. Number 3 is the Gap Road, which is one of the most scenic roads across Munnar. It passes between tea plantations with panoramic views, and it is best visited around sunset or sunrise to enjoy a spectacle of colors. Number 4 is the Lockhart Tea Gardens and the Factory. These beautiful tea gardens and tea factory are just after the Gap Road of Munnar. If you have visited any other tea factory or gardens, this will be a similar experience and maybe not worth trying again. And number 5 on this road is the Chokra Mudi trek, a beautiful trek that can be done as a sunrise trek with the forest department. You can reach the base camp at 5 a.m. in the morning and do the trek to the top. It's a great spot with 360 views all around and a perfect view of the sunrise in front of you. The trek takes about 3 to 4 hours and is of moderate difficulty but can be attempted by everyone. A few other spots on this route are Chinnakanal Waterfalls, which is a roadside waterfall with a great view, the Rock Cave, and Anairangal Dam, a very scenic dam surrounded by tea gardens, and Misa Pulimala trek, another trek to the second highest peak of South India. This is also a sunrise trek offered by Kerala State Forest Department. Route number 2 in Munnar is the Mattupatti direction, which goes towards northeast direction, which is one of the most popular routes across Munnar. First spot on this route is Mattupatti Dam. It's a huge dam tucked between the hills of Munnar. You can go speed boating and pedal boating in this dam with great views. You can enjoy some snacks from local vendors and street shopping while taking in breathtaking views of the the dam. Number 2 is the echo point. On the banks of the dam is a point where the topography creates such a distinct echoing sounds. The spot looks really beautiful to sit and admire the nature, and hearing the clear echo was quite a surprising feeling. Number 3 is the Kundala Dam, another dam with a park on its shore. You can go kayak and pedal boating at this dam also. There is a market full of vendors and food stalls outside the dam, and it's a great spot to unwind and enjoy nature. Number 4 is the top station viewpoint. It has a watchtower made on the side of a cliff overlooking an entire beautiful valley. You will also find a lot of vendors and food stalls outside this spot. A few other spots that can be visited on this route are Rose Garden, a typical government park with displays of various roses for tourists to stroll through and enjoy. Karmalagiri Elephant Park, which is an elephant enclosure offering elephant rides to tourists. Now, I'm not a big fan of such wildlife enclosures, so I just had a look from the outside and carried on my trip. Next is Karmalagiri Botanical Garden, a small botanical garden with a lot of cacti variety on display. And lastly is the Mattupatti Tea Factory, which is a typical tea factory showing the tea making process. Not worth visiting if you have visited any other tea factories in India. Please note, you'll find a lot many tourists on the Mattupatti direction route, so you can start early to avoid the rush. But also the entire ride till the top station viewpoint is extremely beautiful, passing through forests and tea gardens with huge hills and dams around you. Next up is route number 3 that goes towards north in Coimbatore direction. First spot on this route is the Eravikulam National Park. This national park is home to Nilgiri thas, a wild endangered goat species of this region. You can walk on a guided trail through the forest area where you can often sight these goats. A buggy facility is also available, and the park stays closed during the March and April months for the breeding season of goats. Next spot is the Lakkom waterfalls, probably the only waterfall where you are allowed to take a dip in and across Munnar. The falls has a small forest department run canteen as well to snack on, with proper bathrooms and changing facilities for the tourists. Next spot is the Thuvanam waterfalls, which is only accessible via a trek. The forest department offers a guided 3-hour trek to reach these falls for a ticket of about 350 per person. Ideally, it should be done early morning to avoid the heat, and swimming has been prohibited since 2022 at the falls. Have a look at the falls from a viewpoint on the road. Now, other spots of interest on this route are the Tea Museum, which is a decent spot if museums interest you. However, it feels a little outdated in its displays and maintenance. Next is Anamudi, the highest peak of Western Ghats and South India at 2700 meters. You can't go closer or to the top of this majestic hill since last few years because the entry has been stopped for tourists by the forest department, but this peak is visible from the road for the majority of this route, and hopefully it will be reopened to tourists. Next stop is the Munyara Anakotapara Park. It's a prehistoric dolmen site with remains of probable burial sites of early humans from 3 to 15,000 years ago. And a few lesser visited spots on this route are Nayamakad Waterfall, Marayavur Sandalwood Forest, Irachilpara Waterfalls, and Kantalur waterfalls. And lastly, the route 4 goes towards Kochi direction in southwest. It has few nearby spots, but there are also other spots that you can visit en route your way to Kochi or back. The first few recommendations that you definitely shouldn't miss on this route are Kalari Kshetra, which is a must-visit experience of Kathakali and Kalari Payattu, which is one of the oldest forms of martial arts, and it is performed every day between 5 to 7 p.m. Limited tickets are available at the counter for 200 rupees per show, and definitely don't miss the Kalari Payattu show, which is at 6 p.m. Next spot is the Ripple Waterfall, cascading wide waterfall with a small park with facilities with food vendors around it. A few operators offer zip lining activities and zip roller coasters from above the waterfall, which is a great experience. Water levels can be low in the hotter months and swimming is not allowed in the waterfall. Next spot is the Makofa Chocolate Factory, which is a well-made chocolate factory offering tour of the chocolate making process and has a souvenir shop for buying varieties of chocolates. Next spot is the Attukad Waterfall, which is a grand waterfall between the hills and the tea gardens near the Munnar town. Swimming is not allowed here, and there are vendors offering food and snacks at the base while you enjoy the view and soak in the water. It is in full glory post monsoons, but not completely dry in hotter months as well. A few other spots for visiting on this route are the 33 waterfalls, a quaint falls a little away from Munnar where you can splash in the stream, Blossom Hydel Park, another government park with some lawns and flower displays, Pottamedu Viewpoint, which is a viewpoint of a valley near the town with a cardamom and tea garden tours being offered near it, CSI Church, a tiny old stone church near the town, Kuthumkal Waterfalls, which is a majestic waterfall but stays dry in most of the months, Tiger Cave and Nakshatra Kutu Waterfalls, a less frequented spot to a cave which can lead to a short trek with the forest department. Idukki Dam and Calvary Mount, which are about 50 kilometers from Munnar, so you can visit while coming from Kochi, Fly High Adventures, which offer hot air balloon rides in Munnar, and a few waterfalls that you can visit while coming from Kochi, Athirapalli Waterfalls, Thattekad Bird Sanctuary, Kallar Vatiyar Waterfalls, Chiapara Falls, Vallara Falls.
Hey, a quick break from the video. Creating guides like these takes a significant time and effort on our part, and I understand that it saves a lot of your valuable time. So if you're in a place where you are able to, you can use the thanks button under this video to send a small contribution our way that will help fund more such videos on this channel. Stay subscribed till then, and now back to the video. Let me tell you about the places that you can stay in Munnar. So the town of Munnar is a tiny settlement, and all the hotels, resorts, homestays are spread all across in all 4 directions. So do make sure to check the distances before booking the trips. However, the roads are in great condition and it won't be an inconvenience except the little added travel time. And you can truly find some unique, breathtaking properties at great values if you're willing to travel a little further away from the town. Now, I'm going to recommend the best ones that I found and segregate them in 3 budget ranges: luxury, budget, and comfortable, which is in between both. So let's start with the budget section. Now, this is where it gets tricky because there is an abundance of options to choose from. A lot of hotels and homestays may not be worth the value sometimes. And since I have personally not visited them, I will only recommend the ones which I trust and would choose for my trip if I was going on a tight budget. So the best 2 options all travelers have is the hostels, which is the Hosteler and the Zostel. Both have beautiful properties with shared dorms and private rooms as well to choose from, with good location, amenities, and great crowd. Another option to consider for budget are the campsites that are spread all across Munnar. They are mostly situated in farms and tea gardens. It might be uncomfortable during the hotter months, but it is a very amazing experience to stay closer to nature, as a lot of them will also organize sunrise hikes for you in nearby local serene spots. Check these few out as an option to consider: Cox Cargill, Cloud Farm Munnar, Outer Nest Campers, Magic Valley, Wild Sherpas, tenting and camping. And you can obviously find the lodges and hotels in the town around the bus stand area, but they might not be too great an option to consider unless you know about a great property in and around Munnar, and please drop it in the comments to help others out. Now let's get to the comfortable budget option, which is somewhere between luxury and budget travel. So here are some good properties with genuinely good reviews which I was impressed by. First one is the Tea Valley Resort, Elysium Garden, Cloud Castle Resorts and Spa, Thrill Holiday Valley View Rooms, The Fog Munnar, K Mansion, Tea County. And lastly, a few gems from the luxury segment: Eden Woods Resorts and Spa, Elephant Passage, Ragamaya Resort and Spa Munnar, The Panoramic Getaway. And I also found 2 really cool Airbnbs that are worth checking out. First one is called the Mud House Marayu. Second one is the Footprint Wilderness Experience. And now coming to places to eat in Munnar. Here are a few of the restaurants which I tried and I would recommend you to check them out on your trips. First one is Alibaba and 41 Dishes. Second is the Underground Charcoal Grill, Hill Spice Restaurant, Prakriti Multi-Cuisine Restaurant, Sarvana Bhavan, Arabian Grills Munnar, Green Tea Hotel, Maharani. And now the section of how to commute around all these places of Munnar. The first is the obvious: your self-driven car or bike that you have taken from your city, and you will find ample parking space, and the roads are in good condition most of the time, so you can drive without a worry. Second is the local sightseeing taxis. So these cabs are operating on fixed sightseeing routes. The rates start at about 1,000 per route and can go up depending on the routes that you choose to go. You can ask your drivers to customize the routes as per you want, but they are usually pretty insistent on taking you to the most popular spots, which are minimum effort for them and takes less time. So usually not my pick when I am at such destinations. Auto rickshaw stands are available at all the popular spots near the town and where the properties are, and they can take you for a fixed fare from one spot to spot B, and they also take you on the sightseeing routes for all the places. But considering that the roads are very hilly, an auto rickshaw might not be too ideal to go on a longer trip. So my preferred option, and which we did on our trip, was renting a 2-wheeler scooter which was available in Munnar. And because there are very few bike rental providers in Munnar, make sure to call them up in advance and pre-reserve your rides for the days you need. Here are the names and details of the places that you can rent a bike or a scooter when in Munnar. First one is the Gokulam Bike Hire. Second is the Shalom Bike Rental Munnar. Third is Munnar Bike Rental. Fourth is Sangeeta Bikes and Scooter. Now I didn't find any self-drive car rentals being offered in Munnar except this one. So maybe you can connect and check them out if you're looking for renting a car in Munnar. Also, no Ola or Uber will be available when in Munnar. Lastly, the option of local public transport and accessibility. So local buses do run in Munnar coming from nearby towns at usually every 30 minutes to 1 hour intervals during the daytime. These can be used once in a while to get from your property to the town or vice versa if convenient, but the bus won't be able to take you to all of the tourist spots in a convenient manner. So not very reliable to use if you are planning a packed itinerary. Now let me break down the budget and the costs that you would incur on, let's say, a 3-day trip to Munnar. So I'm assuming that you are traveling solo for 3 days and 2 nights and keeping it in a comfortable budget. So let's start. The first expense that you will incur is your stay for 2 nights. I'm assuming it's in a hostel, so it's about 700 per night. Next recurring expense will be your food. So that will be about 650 rupees per day. Next, for your commute, you will rent a bike, which will be about 500 to 700 per day, including fuel. Next recurring cost will be the entry tickets to all the spots, which I'm totaling up to about 100 rupees per day. And lastly, I'm keeping a budget of 1500 rupees for activities, trek tickets or jeep safaris. So that rounds up your total to about 7000 rupees for 3 days for a solo backpacker. Now obviously, if you travel in a group, you can maybe split these expenses a little down. Now here are some things that you should definitely avoid when in Munnar. Number 1, travel during monsoons, because June to September will have heavy rains. It will be very beautiful, but a few activities and spots may be closed for tourists. Number 2, travel without checking the weather forecast. Carrying umbrella, sunscreen and cold clothing based on the forecast before you visit is very essential because of the frequently changing weather. Number 3, avoid relying on taxi operators for sightseeing, because they can end up taking you to the most crowded places at a very convenient distance to them. Next, don't drink and drive or create public nuisance. Wear your helmets and seat belts and be respectful of the locals and the environment. Strictly avoid littering and keep your trash in your backpacks or pockets and dump them at designated dustbins. And lastly, try to avoid buying plastic bottles. Use a refillable bottle and try to fill it up as and when you go. If you found this information useful but now feel like you should have noted down all the details on a paper, don't worry, we have made your job easier by creating an offline digital ebook travel guide version of this entire video with some additional sections like illustrated maps and pre-built day-wise itineraries. You can buy this from our website, link is in the description. Also, you can buy our cool, minimal, everyday comfy t-shirts from the website and help us support and grow this channel. Your purchases will help us make more videos like this from across India. That's it from this video. You can join our Discord server where we will answer all your queries from Munnar, and you can ask other travelers who have been there or are planning to go there at the same time. Follow us on Instagram to see live updates and reels on where we are off to next. I will see you in the next video, but before you go, please like and subscribe to this video. It genuinely helps grow this channel. Oh, and also I have a custom Google map with all the pins about places to stay, places to visit, food, restaurants, properties, everything pinned down on a map with labels for making your job easier. The link is right in the comments and in the description where you can find it.